Well, it's been another couple of weeks since my last garden video, and in the middle of that time, I actually went out of town and came back and realized that the automatic watering system wasn't turned on properly. So a lot of my plants suffered because of it. I don't know that I'm gonna get my melons to come out after all, even though they were going so well, and some other plants also suffered. I'm gonna show you that here in a minute, but there's still plenty of vegetables to harvest, so I wanted to show you all how things are going. So let's go ahead and take a look. So here's the cantaloupe plant. You can see that it really dried out, unfortunately. I really wish that my automatic system had not gone off. I don't know what happened, but this one seems like it is maybe maturing versus the other ones. And then there's also some really small one. Oop, that one actually just fell off. So, yikes. I guess that one's a goner for sure. But I noticed that there are, still some small ones growing in addition to the bigger ones. I think what I'm gonna do here in a minute is cut off the smaller ones so that these ones that are just a little bit bigger maybe will continue to grow. And I'm gonna continue to water these plants really well to see if they will take off. My pumpkin, unfortunately, I think it's a lost cause. Even though there's some greenery here, I just don't think that this is gonna do anything because it just has struggled from the start. And then my honeydew. Oh, Lord! Again, this was doing really well. If you recall, the greenery on everything, and now it's just a big brown mess. This is the biggest one, even though it's kind of got a funny shape. And you see that something attacked this one here, actually burrowed all the way in. So I'm gonna lop that one off. It actually looks like it's not getting any moisture anyway. So I might just cut bait on all three of those. This one actually may not get any more moisture either. So I think it's actually done as well. Now that I see that it's got a brown stem there. So the only one that looks like it may still survive is this little tiny one here because it's still got some green on the stem. So what I might do is just lop these little ones off, and I'll just cut one open and let's just see what it looks like. Since, if they're gone, might as well just open it up and see if it even tastes any bit like a honeydew or not.
Yummy.
Surprisingly, my carrots, despite all of the attacks from insects, are still coming in. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! So I'm gonna let those continue to grow. There's actually one all the way over here too. I'm gonna let those grow with some additional watering and see if I can maybe harvest some carrots a little bit later in the season. My peppers, on the other hand, are doing really well. This is the Tabasco pepper plant, as you recall, and you can see that it's just flourishing. I got peppers all over the place. They're just growing everywhere. Some are even turning red, as you see there. Now, sometimes people will put these in vinegar when they're green. You can buy that kind of green vinegary Tabasco sauce at the store, and others will wait till they mature and then harvest them for eating or for making other kinds of condiments. And then here's my jalapeno plant. This is also doing really, really well. So I'm gonna come and harvest some of these here in a second. These are all ready to be harvested, the bigger ones there. And my hot banana pepper plant is also doing really well. Nice big hot banana peppers. That one's huge, look at that one. Man, that one is ginormous. So I've got some picking to do there. My bell pepper plant is also putting on some nice vegetables. Look at that. There's one there. There's one there. Kind of hidden down here. There's another big one right here. Look at that. So I'll come and pick those here in a second. My tomato plants are still growing. They are not struggling.
I'm not struggling. I'm fine.
They're just growing a little slower than I might have expected, but you can see that there's some fruit here, some green tomatoes there, and look at these little suckers coming in. So when these start to mature here in the next little bit, I will start harvesting those. Of course, my basil plant, which is a good complement to tomatoes, is still growing nicely. I've used that for some caprese salads, obviously not with my own tomatoes, but sliced tomatoes, basil, some sliced mozzarella, and a little bit of balsamic vinegar on top, and some salt and pepper. So good, such a good salad. And here I've got some other tomatoes that are coming in and some more cherry tomatoes that will soon be ready. And my okra plant is not struggling at all. and you can see that I probably have some that are past their prime. When they get to be, like I said, 6 or 7 inches,
that's pretty big.
They get to be a little sinewy and a little bit tough, and they're not really good for eating, but I can dry these out and harvest the seeds to use for subsequent growing seasons as my plant seeds to germinate. So there are several here that are probably too large to eat, but then there are plenty that are perfect size for eating. So like these here, 3 or 4 inches, there's a lot in here. Look at all those there. Some of these are a little bit bigger, but then there's some smaller ones like these here are perfect size. So I will be harvesting those, again, using my gloves because these leaves and stems have a lot of irritating spines on them, and I don't want to be itching all day long. So I will use my gloves when I go to harvest those here in a minute. And my broccoli also finally came in. Look at that. I've got all this broccoli to harvest, and over here as well. Now this one's getting a little bit yellow, you'll notice, versus this one, which has a little bit darker green. Let me see if I can get a shot of both. When they go to getting a little bit yellow, it can be a sign that this is getting ready to sprout seed heads. And so you really don't want to wait this long. You should probably harvest this when it's still dark green. Again, I wasn't here, I was out of town, so I'm gonna harvest this today. It's still edible, but you just wanna be careful. If it starts to create seed heads, then it can get really bitter, and it's, you know, just past its prime. It's trying to develop more broccoli for the future, but these here are perfect. And what you'll do is you'll just lop it right here at the bottom, and this plant will still put on more broccoli shoots as it grows, so you can still harvest later, but that is the main broccoli for that plant. Unfortunately, my squash plants were one of the more obvious victims of the lack of watering.
Why would nature do that to me?
You can see that they really dried out there, and they also got attacked by probably grasshoppers. That's why those leaves look all chewed up. It's still viable. You can see that it's still putting on some flower buds, and those will turn into mature fruit, at least on the zucchini plant. Now the crookneck, well, it's got some flowers too, look at that. So it's got potential to continue to grow. I'm gonna trim it up so that all the dead leaves don't try to sap whatever energy it has from the good leaves so that it can continue to grow. But you can see here that it's still trying to put on fruit, but the fruit is just not doing really well. So again, I will clean this plant up and try to give it a chance to continue to put out some vegetables for the rest of the season. So that's something that I will do here in a minute. My red cayenne pepper plant, which I thought was never going to take off, as you can see, is growing. It's growing slowly. I probably need to stake this up as well because it's leaning over, so I'll do that here in a minute. But it's got some flowers, and those flowers, once they are pollinated, will also put on fruit. So I'm hopeful that that one will put out some peppers a little bit later here in the season. My peas plants are really doing well. You can see that they're getting ready to also have their flowers pollinated and put on some peas as well, pea pods. So these are doing well. I really wish I had those trellises to put around them, but with everything going on right now with COVID, they're delayed in getting to me. I ordered them a long time ago and they're just not here yet. I wanted cages like you see here for the cucumber plant, which unfortunately, another victim of the lack of watering. As you can see, it's still got some fruit, but the fruit is really just not doing really well at all. It really needs to be shaded and has to have a lot of water to take off. So I'm gonna trim this plant up as well, see if I can encourage it to continue growing, and watch it over the next few days and keep it adequately watered. My Swiss chard is just amazing. I mean, it is just getting huge. I guess it was okay with the little bit of a drought the last couple of weeks, the self-made drought, but it is doing really well, and there are lots of great leaves here that I will harvest today and probably have those for dinner tonight. My dill is coming in. Look at that. These two dill plants are really coming in nice and strong. And you can see that dill almost looks like the asparagus. It's very similar.
I don't look like that. That guy's ugly.
But they are different. And there's the asparagus plant there that I've had forever and ever. And I probably will harvest some of the shoots if there are any to harvest as well today. And my rosemary plant is thriving. It's doing okay, which is great. And last but not least, my spearmint plant. Look at that. Just nice and lush. It is just really doing well. I'll clip some of those as well and have that with my tea for dinner. All right, there you have it. Unfortunately, my garden's not at 100% right now. It needs a little TLC, and so I'm gonna go ahead and trim back all the dead leaves and stalks so that the plants can continue to put all their energy into those other stems and vines, and hopefully we will have more vegetables and fruits to grow from what I've got right now. So I look forward to doing some follow-up videos for you all and giving you an update on how things are going, so stay tuned for that. And if you enjoyed this video, please go and smash that like button and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel at Rancher Mike. And until next time, happy gardening and take care. If you enjoyed this video, please give a thumbs up below. You can also check out one of my other videos here and stay up to date by subscribing to my YouTube channel right here. Until next time, I'll see you on the ranch.